Hey everybody, it's your girl Erica. Welcome to my YouTube page. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Monday. I hope your day has gotten off to a great start. Of course, it's Monday. It's the beginning of the work week, so I know it's kind of slow for a lot of people. But I hope you're having a wonderful day thus far because I am here to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yes, we're going to get into it. We know what happened at the very end of that show, so let's get into it. I know what you really want. I'm going to try to review the show as quickly as I possibly can and get through it. But because I know what you really want to talk about, but just bear with me, hang in there with me a little bit, guys. I'm gonna get you there. We're not there yet, but I'm gonna get you there. So let's get started. The show actually opened up with, I think it was Angela and Britt. They went to Shamia's house and they were talking about what happened the night before at Angela's event. And Angela was basically saying, she did write some of those questions that were asked to Kenya. She said she did it because Britt did tell her that Kenya wasn't being nice to her. So Angela thought, maybe she asked some of the questions that she would get or they would get the real answers. Of course, Angela didn't know that Britt was going to have the reaction that she actually had. So it kind of threw her off. But Angela was kind of saying initially that she was on Britt's side. So they were kind of talking about that. We got typical Britt. Britt said what she said, and then now she's backpedaling and she wants to apologize. She said that she wants to pull back and she's going to apologize to Kenya about it. And that was really about it. I mean, Shamia wanted to see how Angela was going to react to what Portia said because at Angela's event, Portia said, "Yeah, I know something about Charles," and that's Charles Oakley, which is Angela's husband. But Angela didn't bite the bait because Shamia was only going to go back and tell Portia whatever Angela said. But Angela didn't say anything. She was like, "I got more things to worry about. I'm not concerned about it." So, that conversation was like null and void. So they moved on. So Portia and Kelly actually came to Kenya's hair spa. Like, I guess it was like a day or two before the actual event. And of course, it looks beautiful. Kenya's ready for the big reveal. She's preparing for it. And so they were kind of talking about what happened. Of course, they were, Kenya was letting them know she didn't like what Britt said, and Kelly was like, "Oh, I didn't hear that part." So of course Kelly is riding for Britt. They're friends. So Kelly, she did tell Kenya that Britt normally doesn't come across like that, or she's never seen her act like that or do anything like that. And she was just saying, give her a chance or whatever. Well, Kenya doesn't want to hear that. Kenya wants no parts of Kelly. I'm sorry, she wants no parts of Britt at all. And she made that very clear to Kelly and Portia. I mean, Kenya was very, very, very like no nonsense about it. And, that kind of let us know where Kenya's head was when it came to, Britt. It was like, okay, girl, you tried to get me, but I'm going to get you, like I'll have the last laugh. And that's kind of like where her attitude was. So we move on. Angela met with her daughter. I think her daughter's name is Armani. And they've been having some family issues. Angela told us I think the last episode, that she's not in a good relationship or a good place with her mom and her sister over some things about her husband Charles. And then Armani came back and said she's been very close to her grandmother. She was supposed to come and meet them for lunch or dinner or whatever they were doing, and the grandmother wasn't going to show up. But then Armani was also saying that she moved into the house that was initially for the grandmother and the aunt. And then something happened with them. They all fell out. The aunt sort of cursed Armani out. And it's just a bad situation. I really don't know. Sometimes doing business or when you're trying to help family, those type of things can happen. It may not be you that it's happening to, but people who have gone through similar situations like that. So it was just kind of like one of those things where this is like true, like family business. And I hope they can work that out because Angela seems to really want to protect her daughter. And she was kind of upset about Armani being treated like that. But Angela also revealed, and she's given us a lot of backstory too, and I kind of like that. Angela did tell us that her mother was bipolar and that she had a lot of issues growing up with her mom. Her mom is doing better in a way, but you know, Angela was saying that basically she did not have the best childhood and the best relationship with her mom, but that she wants to be different with her kids, and she probably has strived to be a much better mother to her children than her mom was to her. And you know, Angela seemed to be a little emotional because it was revealed that Armani got married 4 months ago. Well, at that particular time when they were filming, she had been married for just about 4 months. And the grandmother actually told Angela about it. And Angela was just kind of surprised that Armani didn't come to her. But Armani really didn't give a clear explanation as to why she kept it a secret. I don't know if it's because maybe they don't like the guy or whatever's going on. Nothing was said. We don't really know. Maybe it was just a whim. I don't know if it was some issues going on with this guy. We don't know if Armani and Angela weren't speaking at the time, but whatever it was a reason for Armani not telling her mom. And so they were both getting emotional, and Angela was like, it's just all becoming too much. So they actually just ended up leaving the restaurant. So that was the end of that. So of course, Britt and Portia meet up, and I wrote this down. Britt said in her confessional that she took it too far and she needs to dial it back. So Portia was asking her, you know, all about, you know, what was said and all of that. And Portia seems to have like a soft spot for people who sometimes, you know, make a mistake and then they want to apologize. She does. So, you know, Portia didn't seem to be too upset with Brittany about it. I think Portia was, because Portia didn't actually hear her say it either. Kenya told her. It seems like Kenya told Portia what was said. So Portia didn't really have that. I'm not going to say she didn't have Kenya's back, but she didn't have Kenya's back because she kind of felt like, okay, girl, well, you know, maybe it was a mistake. You know, you can kind of, maybe you have time to clean it up and we'll go from there. So Angela was at home. Angela was talking to Charles, and she was kind of hinting around like all these things that had happened from the actual party that she had at the vault or this bank or whatever the case may be, to even her family issues. And she was kind of trying to talk to Charles about it. And Charles is basically saying like, look, it's life, you know, don't let it get you down. Like Charles even mentioned that he isn't even talking to his own sister. So he was like, so, you know, what's up? Like, I'm in the same situation. I'm in the same boat. Like, okay, you ain't telling me nothing. That's basically was Charles Ho's attitude. And he was really rushing her because he was in the kitchen, of course, as he usually is, frying chicken, and he didn't want his chicken burning. So he was kind of like, okay, let's get to it because I need to finish up my meal. And so I don't know if that's just part of their relationship. I don't know if he's normally like that or if it was only because, you know, he was cooking. But he did seem to be kind of like dismissive a little bit of her. And maybe she's used to that. I don't know. But that's what kind of happened between them. And that was really about it with that. So now we get to Kenya Moore, the Kenya Moore hair spa. Let me just say this. The spa was beautiful. 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 It was gorgeous. It was laid out. It was a true Kenya Moore experience. I wouldn't have expected anything else less from Kenya. So it was really, really nice. We saw Miss Lawrence there. You know, people started arriving one by one. Of course, the ladies were coming in one by one. Let me just say this, what would have been really, really good, Kenya, and I'm sure they probably didn't think about it, but what they should have done, it would have been really nice to have some of the former ladies to come to Kenya's, the former housewives to come to Kenya's event. That would have been everything. It would have been good if Candy had come. I know Kenya's not cool with Marlo like that, but it just would have been good to see the former ladies, Candy, Marlo. I know Phaedra's coming later in the season. Eva, you know, I think Kenya and Eva were really cool outside the show. Tanya, Shamari, all of them. It would have been good if Sheree, if she could have invited like some of the OGs and the former girls to just come to her hair event. I think that would have put this episode over the top. But Maybe Kenya didn't think about it, or maybe she even tried to do it and it didn't work. That's just my opinion. It means nothing, but I would have loved to have seen the other girls to come to her event. So they all got there. Of course, Kenya had these models. She said it was kind of like reminiscent of the Bronner Brothers shows. In Atlanta, they had these expos, these hair expos all the time. So it was kind of reminiscent of that. Of course, Kenya had food and drinks and all of this. And they had like a little small fashion show, like a hair fashion show. They had these like really artsy cultural hairstyles that, and it was actually their hair, but it almost looked like art on top of their head. So that was really, really cool. So of course Drew was the last one to arrive, and of course Drew and Portia are still not getting along. Nene said something to Kim Fields in season 8. She said, I need you to put that Bible down and put some stank on it, when Kim Fields was talking to Kenya. Well, I feel the same way about Drew. Drew, you need to put them acting chops down and put some stank on it. Now, Portia has disrespected you. I think you've seen Portia at least 2 or 3 times now, and she's disrespected you. You should be tired of it, and you need to put Portia in her place, because the bottom line is you and Dennis are going to continue to work together. There's nothing going on, and you need to stand on business about that. I understand that maybe you should have contacted Portia a little earlier, or whatever the case may be, but Portia is just using, and I said this at the very beginning on the first episode, Portia's just using Drew as a punching bag, because what Portia's really mad about, she shouldn't really be mad about. Now Portia's mad because Johnny told her that Drew was trying to, her and Dennis wanted to do a promo or use the Go Naked hair for her video promo or something for her EP that she was actually releasing. And Portia never said that. Drew said, well, I tried to contact you, and Portia was like, oh, you're such a liar. You never tried to contact me. When you first wanted to talk, I wanted to talk to you, and then when you wanted to talk, I was sick and all this other stuff. It's like Portia is being a petty Betty, for real. Like, Portia, like, let it go. Like, I know some people are very, very territorial over their baby daddies and, their ex-husbands and stuff like that. But again, we could clearly see that Drew is working on her music. And we know that, I'm sure Dennis has made that clear. Drew has made it clear. She can't get any clearer. But I want Drew to stop putting on the Chrissy Snow act like, what? No, huh? No, like, Drew, like I said, people love to say, oh, I'm from the Chi, or I'm from this place, and we don't play that, and we don't do this. But then when you have these conversations, you don't put your foot down and let people know where you're coming from. And I'm like, Drew, you're always talking about you're from the Chi. Girl, you should be shutting Portia down at this point. Portia, I'm done with you. You don't care for me, and that's cool. I'm moving on. I told you the truth. There's nothing more for me to say to you. What more do you want from me? Because apparently you now want me to lie to you and tell you that something is going on. Is that going to make you feel better, Portia? Is that going to make you feel better? Because obviously that's what Portia wants, because Portia's making a bigger deal out of this than what she has to. I'm sorry. I see Portia just trying to be, Portia came into this season sort of wearing the victim. She's wearing the victim cape. Oh my God, woe is me. Simon has done me wrong. And let me use my radar to see who I'm going to lash out at. And to me, she's lashing out at Drew. And I'm sick and tired of Drew being her doormat. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I know a lot of people don't like Drew, and they have valid reasons for not liking Drew. But at the same time, it's getting petty and stupid, and they're grown women, and they need to start acting like it. All of them, period. You know what I'm saying? Even even Cynthia kind of said, okay, okay, if Drew is trying to come to you and she's trying to be cool, you kind of need to accept that. Of course, it's none of Cynthia's business, but Cynthia's right. Like, girl, how many times are we gonna have scenes and go out or go on vacation or shoot all these scenes, and you just act like this? Excuse me, I want to sneeze. My allergies are acting up so bad, guys. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But, I just feel like, yeah, Drew, put some stank on it. Like, girl, don't let Portia punk you like that. Like, it's getting to be a little bit too much, especially not if she's going to try to do this the entire season. I don't want to see that. So that was that. So we go on. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry. I just had like a little small allergy attack. I was getting ready to like go through these sneezing fits. But anyway, so like I said, Drew, put some stank on it, girl. Let Portia know you're not gonna punk me. I know you're going through a hard time, but I ain't the one. Right or wrong, I'm still gonna be me, and I'm not gonna walk on eggshells around you. Point blank and period. So anyway, Britt, Kelly came, she had her sprinter. She got in the sprinter and she actually went to pick up Britt. And they were talking about, they were on their way to Kenya's event. Well, anyway, Britt was saying that her aunt or someone passed away. And, she was just saying like it's a lot going on. And again, she did say she wanted to apologize to Kenya, whatever the case may be. They get there. Kenya wants no parts of Britt. Britt had flowers. She was prepared to apologize. And Kenya was like, nope, not having it. Get get these flowers out of here. Get this girl out of here. Kenya is the queen of, throwing someone out of a party, off her boat, wherever she is, she wants to get rid of you. If she doesn't like you, she's going to escort you out or ask someone to escort you out and ask you to leave. So she's done that at her housewarming party. She's done that so many times in previous seasons. So, it was kind of like expected that she was going to do that. Britt was just not prepared for Kenya to actually do that because she's seen Kenya in action, but to actually experience it on her own is probably something totally different. So, she got the Kenya Moore experience. She kept poking at that bear, and so now Kenya's coming after her. So anyway, Kenya starts making this presentation, and she's sort of talking in third person about this particular person who has offended her, and she's tried to be nice, and, she said she came for the queen, and she's been trying to, shade me, and Kenya said, I am that bee. Will always be that. I've always been that BI, and I will continue to be that BI. So everybody's kind of, just listening. And so then Kenya makes the whole presentation. And she said the person that I'm talking about is Britt Eady. Meanwhile, Britt was outside. At first, she and Kelly were outside. So Kelly comes in and she's like, well, at least let me get her card or whatever. So she sees where King is going with this. So Kelly's like, I'm not down for this. I'm leaving. So Kelly, tells Britt, hey, it's time for us to go. We don't have time for this or whatever King is putting down. I'm not with it. I'm on your side. I'm your friend. So, of course, Kenya, she gets all these poster boards out and she makes her presentation. So, bam, the first presentation is just Britt Eady. She shows Kenya even said she had some investigators to get some information on Brittany. So she starts showing all these profile pictures of Brittany. I think, some of them were even mug shots. So the girls are looking like, okay, this is where we're going. I don't really like this. And then Kenya makes her final presentation. Drum roll. Kenya exposes Brittany in a very uncompromising position, and it looks as though, I think Brittany on the photo was actually giving fellatio. And everyone's face dropped. Everybody from Portia, Cynthia, Shamia, Drew, all the ladies that were still there, they kind of turned their head, or they were like, oh God, you could just tell they were embarrassed in that moment. They were shocked. They didn't really know what to say, what to do. Some of the guests were shocked that she did this. And, they were saying, hey, Kenya, this is not the time or whatever. And Kenya said, no, it is the time. Like, this is my house, basically. I can do what I want. I think Shamia or someone said that to her. And, Kenya, at that point, she was gone. She was at the point of no return. She was angry. She wasn't going to turn back. She wasn't changing her mind. She, it was like pedal to the metal. She was riding till the wheels fell off about it. And it was an embarrassing situation. And so that is how Kenya Moore's season ended, because production ceased all filming with Kenya after that. There's a YouTuber, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him, Andrew Gabor. Andrew Gabor said last week that he was upset with Kenya because Kenya had won. Because when Britt had actually threatened Kenya, all Kenya had to do was go to the law. All Kenya had to do was go to the police, file a report, and then tell production, hey, I don't want to film with her because I feel threatened. I don't know if Kenya actually said something to production, but I agree with him that she had already won. She really did not have to go there. I wish that she had done this at another event. They're gonna, they film all these scenes throughout the season. We see them, sometimes they have events at their home. Was Cynthia gonna have her Bailey Q? Maybe she could have done it at the Bailey Q. Not that she wanted to do it at Cynthia's house, but in a more private setting. Kenya worked so hard on that hair spa, and I just wish that she had not done it there. Would I have done it at all? No. I will say that I wouldn't have done that at all, but if it had to be done, then it definitely should have been done at another event, a smaller event where it was just the ladies. To do that publicly, it's one thing if you want to shame someone and you want to do it and you want to read them and you want to shade them and then you want to shame them. Okay, but to do it publicly in front of everyone, I think it just left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Cynthia very much expressed that she was angry with Kenya. Drew was the only one that stayed. Portia seemed like she was just done. And, Portia, I think Portia did not like it, but Portia is also at that point, like, she probably didn't want to be there anyway because she's going through her divorce, and Portia just seems, she's there, but she's still not there. And if you watch Portia closely, Portia comes up looking, all dolled up, but at the same time, Portia is looking for any excuse to sort of get out of there and not really, just be Portia right now. She's going through it. So anyway, like I said, Drew was the last to leave, and everyone was just shocked. Angela, I was shocked because even during that time, Kenya had thanked Angela for Kenya said, thank you because you were the only one that actually called me. And Kenya told Angela, thanks. And Angela said, yeah, I was on your side or whatever. But I was kind of thinking, did you guys catch that? Like, Angela was like, yeah, I wanted you to know that I had your back. Well, Angela said she had Kenya's back, but then when she met with Britt and Shamia at the very beginning of the show, she said that she was supporting Britt. So that kind of threw me. But anyway, Angela seemed like she was sort of appalled by what Kenya did anyway. So that was the episode. It was very explosive at the end. Even though it was like it seemed like such a small thing that Kenya did, it actually had a huge impact to the point where she could no longer film with these ladies. So guys, what do you think about it? Like, me personally, I feel like, and this is how I genuinely feel. I feel like Kenya should not have been fired. I feel like, yeah, there could have been some disciplinary action, but I felt like there should have been disciplinary actions for both Britt and Kenya. And I think that Kenya still should have been able to finish out the season. Maybe she could have, sat out for like a few episodes or whatever the case may be, or they could have given her like a specific amount of time to be out. But I did not think that it warranted, what she did warranted, her being sort of suspended basically for the rest of the season. And now when it initially started with Brittany, if Kenya had started this whole thing, I could see it, but Britt actually started it. And so guys, let me know what you think. I really wanted to, like I said, it wasn't a big episode. It wasn't like, oh my god, this episode was so good. I think, like I said, it was just explosive because we were all waiting to see what happened. But then when it happened, it was like, what? Okay, but it still didn't really have, to me, it didn't really have that impact that I thought it was going to have. Maybe if I saw the picture itself, of course they weren't going to show us, but maybe if I saw the picture, maybe I would have felt a little more connected, or like like I would have had that kind of reaction. But I didn't. I was just like, okay, it was like we were more or less watching everyone else's reaction, so we knew that it was something bad, but we still don't know how bad it was. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I tried to make the video as short as I could because I know so many people are going to be talking about this. So I didn't want to overwhelm anyone with the details about it. But let me know what you think. Like this video. Please like this video. And subscribe to my channel. And let me know what you think. Do you think that Kenya, should have been suspended? Do you think that Brittany should have also gotten disciplinary action? What do you think about it? Is it something that you would have done? Someone had sort of basically disrespected you. Do you feel like Kenya had the right to do what she did, or do you feel like Kenya went too far? I mean, those are really the questions that most people have. Did Kenya go too far, and was she fairly punished? So let me know what you think. I hope you like this video. And like I said, stay tuned. I certainly will be doing more. Please also check out, if you watch Married to Medicine, check out the Married to Medicine review. I've already done that. And I will see you guys soon. Have a great day, a great evening, and I'll catch you next time. All right. Bye.